Hello again, everyone. I'd like to first thank you again for watching. This week I will be doing all the teams in Minnesota. I am a Minnesota Wild fan, so I'm going to save the Minnesota Wild hockey team till the end of the week. Just letting you know that ahead of time. So if I seem a little excited about them at the end of the week, that's because that's my hockey team. I am a Minnesota Wild fan. In all leagues, I do have a favorite team. Being from Canada, I'm sure a lot of people would expect that I'd be a Leafs or a Canadiens fan kind of thing, but I'm not. I'm a Minnesota Wild fan for sure, which is a little different. Also, I know a lot of people have their favorite teams and it's all be the same city. Like, if you're a Boston fan, you like the Patriots, the Bruins, and the Red Sox kind of thing. For me, I'm kind of all over the place. So I'll let you know for this week, the Minnesota Wild are my hockey team. I'm not saying that the Minnesota Vikings are my NFL team. I'll get to that later on in some other week, okay? So starting off with Minnesota, I'm going to do the Twins first. So the baseball team, the MLB team for the city of Minnesota. So looking at the Twins last season, they had a 70-92 record, which was the last in the AL Central. It is a tough division with the Royals and the White Sox for sure. Two teams that are going to be difficult to try to beat in those divisions for sure, as well as the Detroit Tigers obviously is the powerhouse team for sure there. But I think the Royals and the White Sox are steadily getting stronger. The Twins made a little bit of an offseason acquisition. They brought back right fielder Torrey Hunter, who last season had a 286 average with 17 home runs and 83 RBIs with the Tigers. So he's back back playing for the Twins, but he was playing for a division rival last year. So that's okay. It's nice to have him back for sure. I'm sure Minnesota's excited about that. He's a career 279 batter with 1,310 RBIs and 193 stolen bases. So it's nice for him to come home, play for Minnesota, and hopefully this season he can have 90 RBIs and still steal seven bases, because then he'll get to the 1,400 RBI plateau as well as the 200 stolen bases on his career, which is pretty good. And having a speed aspect to your team is a nice element to add, even for veterans like Torrey Hunter. So he might not be the fastest guy like he used to be at the beginning of his career, but 7 stolen bases if he plays a full season, I think it's something he'll be able to manage. And as much as players say they're for the team and they want to win a championship, individual stats are nice to keep a track of. And I'm sure even he knows in the back of his mind, 90 RBIs is 1,400 for his career, and he only needs 7 stolen bases. So I'm sure those are some milestones that he would like to get to, which isn't selfish, at all. He's done a lot of great things for baseball, a lot of great things in Minnesota, and he deserves to get the accolades as an individual for sure. So hopefully he can get to those milestones. They also signed Ervin Santana, who last year signed a 1-year deal with the Braves, and now he's signed with the Twins. Last year he had a 3.95 ERA with a 14-10 record, 196 innings pitched to 179 strikeouts. So he's about a strikeout per inning kind of guy. Could get you 200 innings in a season as well for sure. He's only 117.1 innings away for 2,000 innings pitched on his career. So at the sometime probably closer to I'm going to say probably in July-ish kind of thing, he'll reach the 2,000 inning pitch plateau in his career. Depending on how many innings he pitches in the first half of the season, we'll have to see how he's doing for them for sure. But bringing him in, looking at their current roster and some pitchers they have, I think you have a decent 1-2 punch with Ervin Santana and Phil Hughes. Phil Hughes last year for the team had a 3.52 ERA with a 16-10 record, and then 186 strikeouts to 209.2 innings pitched. So you got 2 guys at the start of your rotation, at the top of your rotation, that are 200-plus inning guys and can strike out close to 200 batters as well. So it's a solid 1-2 punch. Combined last season, the combined they had 30 wins. So that's solid. Hopefully Santana can bring in a nice veteran presence and can help establish a solid starting rotation with Phil Hughes and Ervin Santana as your 1-2 punch kind of thing. Kyle Gibson is probably going to be your third guy. Last season he had a 4.47 ERA with a 13-12 record, and then 179 innings pitched to 107 strikeouts. So not a strikeout per inning guy, but still a guy who's going to give you a lot of innings, which is solid. Ricky Nolasco is probably going to be your 4-5 guy kind of thing. Last year he had a 5.3 ERA with a 6-12 record, so not a great record, but still 115 strikeouts to 159 innings pitched. So again, not a strikeout per inning guy, but a guy who can give you 150 plus innings. So that's probably going to be their 4 starting pitchers. People are going to compete for the 5th spot. Who knows if Nolasco has a rough spring training with his ERA last year being above 5 and him having a 6-12 record kind of thing. They might move him to the bullpen, or he might drop down to a 5th spot kind of thing. But I think Kyle Gibson, Phil Hughes, and Ervin Santana have 3 of the 5 starting pitching spots kind of locked up between those 3 guys for sure. Looking at their roster kind of thing, like I said, they brought in Torrey Hunter for as an outfielder for this offseason. But you got Kurt Suzuki as your catcher. Your catcher used to be Joe Mauer for sure. He's still with the team, but now he's moving on to first base, which you see more and more teams doing with catchers as they get older into their career. Their knees are not as great as they used to be just based on the position. So you move them to first base or they become a DH and that kind of thing, which is what Joe Mauer has done. So Kurt Suzuki is now your catcher. Last year, he had a great average, a 288 average with 61 RBIs. Only 3 home runs, so he's not a power guy at all, but a good average guy. He's going to drive in some runs, and he also hit 34 doubles. I'm going to bring up doubles for the other 3 guys I'm going to talk about as well, because I feel that's an important aspect of a team. So, like I said, Kurt Suzuki's your everyday catcher. Joe Mauer is now your everyday first baseman kind of thing. Last season, he had a 277 average with 55 RBIs and only 4 home runs, so he's not a power guy anymore. He's still a threat at the plate. If I was a pitcher, I wouldn't be throwing him 95-mile-an-hour fastball down the heart of the plate, because he's still going to knock it out of the park. But he's not your 20-plus home run guy anymore like he used to be at the beginning of his career for sure. He also had 27 doubles. Trevor Plouffe is their third baseman. Last season he had a 258 average with 14 home runs and 80 RBIs. So he's got some pop in his bat. He also had 40 doubles, so he's got some speed there as well for sure. Their big guy, I think. I think Joe Mauer is still kind of the face of the franchise. If you were to say to give it to somebody for the Twins who is recognized as their face kind of thing, I'd say Joe Mauer. Now Torrey Hunter's back. You could always say he's kind of a face of the Twins as well. But Brian Dozier, I think, is the guy who kind of blossomed last year. With a 242 average, so not a great average, but he had 23 home runs, 71 RBIs. For a second baseman, you don't usually see that as a power position. For sure, usually your power bats are your outfielders, your first baseman, your DHs kind of thing, and your left side of the infield are more your speed guys, and they bat for contact and bat for average kind of thing. And he also had 37 doubles. So with those 4 guys, you had 118 doubles. Sorry, I think that's right. 118 doubles between those 4 guys. Just doing the math quickly in my head there, which is good, because then if you average that out, those are just those 4 guys in the lineup. So let's say if there's 162 games in the year, 118, so you just need another 44 doubles from your other 5 guys in your lineup kind of thing, and you're averaging a double a game. Which I know kind of sounds like a silly stat to bring up, but the reason I do that is because teams who struggle, like the Twins who were 70 and 92 last season, need to find ways to win. And getting a guy on second base without having to bunt him over or sacrifice fly, getting on base is important, so singles are great, but getting a guy in scoring position right off the bat without having to, like I said, bunt or sacrifice fly or something like that to get him into scoring position, it helps for sure. I'm the kind of guy who enjoys the small ball. I know the home runs and the grand slams and the double steals and all that stuff is exciting, and those are great plays. And if teams can execute them, that's awesome. But at the end of the season, your fans want you to be in the playoffs. They want you to be succeeding, and a 70 and 92 record is going to get you into the playoffs. In the division they're in, the Twins would have to essentially, I think, flip those numbers and have a 92 win, 70 loss season kind of thing, and they're not going to do that in 1 year. I think optimistically, if they could improve to an 80 and 82 record kind of thing, aim for 500 ball this year, I think that would be a nice direction to go, prove that they're, show that they're improving and that they're getting in the right direction. Like I said, Detroit and the White Sox and the Royals, they're all going to be competitive teams, and it's going to be hard for them to try to win the division. They might be able to squeak into a wild card spot, but I don't think they're playoff ready yet. So that's why I would say I think you need to improve. Bringing in Santana helps with your starting rotation for sure. Bringing Torrey Hunter in gives you a nice veteran presence in the outfield. But try to get to 500 ball just to show that you're heading in the right direction and making improvements. Which is why with the small ball, getting on second base, like I said, if it's the 8th inning and you're down 2-1 and you get a guy to second base with his first at bat, there's no outs. I know it'll sound like you're wasting an inning by doing 2 deep flies, but now you've tied the game up. I know you've given up 2 outs for that, and now the game's tied, but now there's 2 outs kind of thing. But now you've tied the game up. It's a close game at the end. Hopefully you have a solid 8th inning guy and a solid closer that then you could possibly get another run and win the game 3-2 in the 9th kind of thing. But that's what I think you need to do, especially with the roster they have. Like the guys I mentioned, Joe Mauer is not a power hitter anymore. Torrey Hunter, he can still pop the bat. Torrey Hunter could have a 20 home run season for sure. He had 17 last year, but and Brian Dozier had 23, so that's all there. But they don't have 3 or 4 guys that are going to be hitting 20 plus home runs on their roster kind of thing, especially if they stay healthy. So you need to be doing the small ball things to win those close games. And, when players go up there, I think, oh, there's a runner on second, we're down by 1, and they get a little antsy, and they think, oh, I'll crack a home run and I'll win the game 3-2. If you're Kurt Suzuki, don't even have that mindset, kind of thing. I mean, I'm sure there's players out there that you can do that, especially if it's the first month of the season. That's an exciting way to win a game for sure. But if you're nearing the end of the season, you wanna show that you're heading in the right direction. You got the right mindset. Win those close games with the sacrifice flies or the sacrifice bunts and doing the small ball thing. That's what teams who are successful do. At least in my opinion, that's what they need to do to win those close games. Because if you're down 8-2, then sure, go up there and try to hit a 2-run home run because it's the 8th inning and you're down by 6. And if you're playing a strong team like the Tigers or something who have a great closer coming in or a potential closer coming in if you were to get close, then the game's probably out of reach anyway. So sure, try to be a hero and hit the home runs kind of thing. But if it's close and you got a solid closer on your rotation and in your bullpen, then do the small ball thing, hit the sacrifice flies, do the bunts, do those kind of things so that you can score those runs. So I wish the Twins luck this upcoming season. Hopefully they can improve that record. Like I said, I think a 500 record would be a optimistic and reachable goal for them, for sure. Good acquisitions this offseason with Santana to help with that starting rotation. Right fielder Torrey Hunter's back with the team. Nice veteran presence in the outfield. So hopefully they can have a improve season from their 2014 campaign. Good luck this year, the Twins. And thank you again for all who check in and tune in on my sports talks. I appreciate it. Thanks again. Bye.